Hi, welcome to day 19 of our Acu meditation, the breath body balance Acu meditation featuring Proverbs 1 through 31. So day 19. Yesterday I demonstrated this. I'll give you a brief history of how that came about. I always think that knowing the why is important. I feel I need to know why. If I don't know why, I'm not motivated. So what I learned how to train focus by studying people that have focus. Everybody has their own personal trick, right? What do we learn from each other? One of the things I learned about training focus was reading about Tiger Woods, and his focus is like no other. They've put instruments on the brains of many golfers of all skill levels and found that Tiger Woods has the most remarkable focus of anyone. And what his father taught him was to look at the golf ball and imagine his initials on the other side of the golf ball. So he's looking through the golf ball with his imagination. So the mind has a direct influence on our emotions, on our physical body, and our spirit. And our spirit affects the mind, the emotions, the physical body. The physical body affects the emotions, the mind, and the spirit. And they're all connected. Now, I'm sure you have had an experience where your heart and your mind weren't in agreement, or our bodies are not in agreement with our spirits. So the training, the focus, that's what it's like, bringing it in, reining it in, taking control of this vehicle, of this instrument, this human instrument that we've been given that moves about. So that's how I really see our bodies, ourselves, our souls as instruments, as vehicles. And just like cars and guitars, we have to learn to operate them. So as I was learning meditation, all the different forms of meditation all boil down to focus on the breathing. Letting it get deep into the body, deep into the belly. Then the muscles will relax, and the nerves then are bathed with blood flow all through circulatory system. If we're white knuckling, we're crimping those hoses, not allowing blood flow. Blood brings the nutrients and carries away metabolic waste. And we can take control over that. So it was with the knowledge of learning how to focus, training focus. Now the opposite of that, and that's what we see in the Proverbs. The Proverbs are direct opposite. It's the heads or the tails. It's the portrait or the what's under every tail, right? It's the best and the worst, the extremes. And just so happened at the very time I was putting all this together and using it and establishing, wowie kazowie, look at how we can literally train focus. I was also witnessing the Pokemon Go beta test in Grapevine, Texas along the main street. People were downloading the Pokemon Go app as an experiment, and I looked at that and I saw how on people's phones, on their screens, it was an interactive. So the camera was on so they could see our main street, our sidewalks, And Pokemon Go was a transparent overlay where the Pokemon characters were sexually molesting the people on the sidewalks. I was appalled to see this. I couldn't believe my eyes that these Pokemon characters were literally sexually assaulting the people on the street without their even knowledge. People walking up and down the street. It was shocking. And these characters were also leading them into stores. So what I learned is this was all a Google experiment. Shoshana Zuboff, if you look up Shoshana Zuboff, you can find her video explaining the event. I can post a link later under this video. And but anyway, I witnessed this firsthand. The mind control. So they were training, meaning Google, through the Pokemon Go experiment, which later I think, I'm not sure, I try to just avoid all of that. However, they were training what I called scatterbrain, the opposite of actually taking control of themselves. They were allowing Pokemon Go, allowing Google to lead them wherever that took them. And they had to shut the experiment down because families were getting hit by cars. They were so consumed with what they were seeing on their screen. They were only watching that, and they literally were led right into traffic. Right there in Grapevine, Texas, this was, I want to say about 2015, maybe 2016. So I really put this breath, body, balance, installing the words like this in 2014. So I had really established this. It was over a year or two maybe that I had been doing it personally and sharing it clinically. And then I saw this Pokemon Go, and I felt that if we don't take control of ourselves, somebody else will. Or by default, we will be training scatterbrain. Have you ever felt scatterbrained, disorganized, doing things and you just don't know why you're doing them and you can't quit doing them? Well, focus on your breathing and get it deep into the belly. Start to feel where the breath is coming in and moving the body. So breath in every language is from the root word spirit. What spirit are we breathing? Is it a spirit of truth and honesty? Does this spirit have our best integrity? Is it building it right here, right now? That's the lamp into our feet and the light into our path. Where are we going? Right here, right now. What are we doing? And where is it going to lead us? Because what we do right here, right now, is leading us into our future. Where the eyes go, the body follows. So where the eyes go, the body follows. I'll go through it again today with the actionable. Now, when I do this personally, and I encourage you to do it, you can say the words out loud. The words have vibrations. However, a lot of times I do it just in my mind, and I'm quiet, and I'm really... When we study the words, the names of God, Yeshua, Yeshua, Yahweh, it's really our breath. When we're breathing and looking and taking in the Holy Spirit, that's God's name. He breathed His Spirit into us. Now, will we continue to breathe His Spirit? right? He gave us his breath, and then he gave us free will. God is a God of, he's pro-choice. He says, I set before you each day, but you choose. You choose. So he breathed his spirit in us. He gave us that. And then it's up to us to choose life or death, blessings or stressings, blessings or curses, right? If we're not intentionally blessing, we're by default stressing. And if we're intentionally cursing and wonder why on earth our life is not full of blessings, it's no wonder. The words matter. They truly matter. And I believe sometimes things do need to be cursed. We see not everything is a blessing. Sometimes we do need to banish things. But it takes time. The truth takes time. So take time. And today I'll just go ahead and I'll breathe the words. I'll show you again how it is, how the physical part is. So I find a place where I'm free to move. And I look down to my feet and see, can I bring my feet together, heels and toes touching? And I imagine all the places where my feet are making contact with the floor are growing roots. Like that tree spoken about in Psalm 1:1-3. I want to be that tree by streams of water and send those roots deep into the ground. And with your mind's eye, the more you do it, the more those roots will grow and you'll be able to draw the nutrients. And as you draw the nutrients, we're going to be decompressing each vertebrae of the spinal cord. Hands together in prayer. Use your eyes. Imagine that sun right here. And let's inhale up and fill our lungs with integrity and bring that integrity into our spirit. Next, breathe joy deep into your belly. See the universe just pouring joy deep into your belly. Now peace. Open the middle finger and allow peace that surpasses all understanding to fill your heart. And patience. Open up for patience into the nervous system. See your nervous system being coated with patience and kindness. Allow kindness to come into your heart and pump through every artery, capillary, vein. Again, integrity of spirit. Breathe integrity into your lungs. Ask the Holy Spirit to come in your spirit. And joy deep down. Open up to joy and bring joy deep down into your belly. 3 is peace into the heart. The heart is 3, a muscle innervated by nerves and circulatory system. So let's breathe patience into our circulatory system. I mean nervous system, right? Nobody's perfect. We all do better with a second chance. So be kind. Breathe kindness into your heart and see kindness throughout your entire body. And then let it go. All right, this second set, I will just do with my breath. But in my mind's eye, I'm going to be counting integrity into my spirit, joy deep down, peace in my heart, and patience and kindness. So we'll do, 2 rounds. I'm imagining a sun that goes up and down, up and down. So just like Tiger Woods imagined that his initials were on the far side of the golf ball, I imagine that sun emoji going up and down. So in my mind's eye, in my real eyes, I'm looking, I'm using the eyes are moving and imagining at the same time. So it's a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual action where we're tuning this vehicle, right? Both cars and guitars need tune-ups. So here we go. I'm gonna and I'll breathe loudly, like I feel that that's the name of God. That, like, I'm really breathing in God's Spirit and His fruits of the Spirit. So this is how I do when I'm home alone. You can get the runner's high like that without running. So it's great if you have any joint injuries, especially those runners that rely on that runner's high. And then what was so cool, when I stepped away, I noticed the imprint of my feet. And in the center where the arches are, it left a shield. So the armor of God, right? That left the armor of God. Let me see if well, just for time's sake, we'll read the armor of God. I believe I read the armor of God in one of the other readings. But today we'll read Proverbs 19. Better a poor man whose walk is blameless than a fool whose lips are perverse. It is not good to have zeal without knowledge, nor to be hasty and miss the way. A man's own folly ruins his life, yet his heart rages against the Lord. Wealth brings many friends, but a poor man's friend deserts him. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who pours out lies will not go free. Many curry a favor with a ruler, and everyone is the friend of a man who gives gifts. A poor man is shunned by all his relatives. How much more do his friends avoid him? Though he pursues them with pleading, they are nowhere to be found. He who gets wisdom loves his own soul, and he who cherishes understanding prospers. A false witness will not go unpunished, and he who pours out lies will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury. How much worse for a slave to rule over princes? A man's wisdom gives him patience. It is to his glory to overlook an offense. A king's rage is like the roar of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. A foolish son is his father's ruin, and a quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping. Houses and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Laziness brings on deep sleep, and the shiftless man goes hungry. He who obeys instructions guards his life, but he who is contemptuous of his ways will die. He who is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward him for what he has done. Discipline your son, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to his death. A hot-tempered man must pay the penalty, and if you rescue him, you'll have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end, you will be wise. Many are the plans of a man's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. What a man desires is unfailing love. Better to be poor than a liar. The fear of the Lord leads to life. Then one rests content, untouched by trouble. The sluggard buries his hand in the dish. He will not even bring it back to his mouth. Flog a mocker, and the simple will learn prudence. Rebuke a discerning man, and he will gain knowledge. He who robs his father and drives out his mother is a son who brings shame and disgrace. Stop listening to instruction, my son, and you will stray from the words of knowledge. A corrupt witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked gulp down evil. Penalties are prepared for mockers, and beatings for the backs of fools. So harsh, those penalties. The one verse that stands out to me today from the 19th chapter, especially with those last few verses, are listen to advice and accept instruction, and in the end you'll be wise. Because it takes time to learn, right? We're physical. We're here to, test the spirits, see what works. Where is true love? Are we true love? Yes and no, day and night. So continue to test the spirits, continue to tune this instrument and look to God, because life will knock us down and tear us apart. And yet we can remember. I think of, like an arm being a member, and if it's ripped off, we can remember. So things do happen and we forget. That's why we have breath by breath. Remember. So, thank you for your interest and listening. I pray that God continues to remember us. All right, take care.